Hello students, today we are going to talk on the chapter 8 of your history book. It is about the peace settlement after the First World War and the establishment of the League of Nations and its work, its successes as well as its failures. We had already talked about the First World War in the last chapter, and that it had ended in November of 1918. As the war was about to end, President Woodrow Wilson of USA had proposed 14 points, which is famously known as 14 points. And he had proposed a pathway for peace and ways and means to avoid disputes, international disputes in the world at large. So, when these points or proposals were passed around, the Germans also saw it. The central powers, which were Austria-Hungary and basically Turkey and Germany, these countries ultimately surrendered in November of 1918, and they had hoped for better settlement of peace. The first thing that was conducted was the Treaty of Versailles, or which is also called as Paris Peace Settlement. During this peace settlement, or according to the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, nothing went as planned. This treaty seemed to be very harsh. Usually, in history we say, the history is made by the victors. The victorious powers, the allies, especially here, France, England and USA, they seem to have imposed very harsh terms on here, especially Germany. They found that Germany was the main cause of the war, and it's as part of war reparation, or the fine as we say it, many of the productive territories or coal producing territories or industrial territories were taken away from Germany. Germany had to lose very many places. Like Poland, new nation of Poland was created. It had to lose Saar Valley, and land near the Rhine was also given to France, for that matter. So Germany was punished very severely. As I said earlier in the last chapter, already the seeds of Second World War was sown in these peace settlements. So was this a peace settlement? Who knows? So there were already the seeds of the Second World War in this peace treaty. As a result of this peace treaty, the League of Nations was also formed. The League of Nations, which is a body like we have today, the United Nations. The League of Nations was set up, and this was a body which was supposed to be looking after all the international disputes. But many countries did not join, and it remained basically a European establishment. Japan and some countries, Turkey, had joined. The membership was not very much subscribed to by other nations. It was basically looked like an European organization. So, therefore, many countries did not feel the need to be part of it. And many countries also of Asia and Africa were colonies, so to say. So they did not have the independence to join the League of Nations either. One of the reasons for the failure of League of Nations is the country that proposed, USA, did not join the League of Nations itself. And countries like Italy and Germany and Japan withdrew from the League of Nations, resigned from the League of Nations. So, League of Nations had no control over the international affairs. However, it was successful in certain areas in solving the disputes. But more than the disputes, we can see its failure itself. This is a small chapter. Though small, it is very, very important. Important because today we see the United Nations. It is to learn how to solve disputes or international tensions amicably. War is not a solution all the time. And with having international organizations like this, there are also advantages that we can cooperate on many fronts, on technology, so to say, or an unprecedented time like this today, where the role of the World Health Organization is very important for the poorer countries. Poorer countries need a voice. The weaker countries need a voice at an international level. And these international bodies, just like United Nations and before that League of Nations, would provide a platform for the poorer nations to speak up and demand what is required for their citizens. And international cooperation is very much needed. We are living in an interdependent world. None of our countries can exist independently. Today, if you see, at every level we are dependent on other countries. The things produced in other countries, the technology that was invented in other countries, sometimes even the material that comes from other countries. Like many of the medical equipments are produced or manufactured in Germany. Many of the medicines and the technical know-how probably, or the chemicals, may be coming from the other countries at an affordable price. And therefore, whatever be the situation now, international cooperation is essential. And when there are disputes between two countries, it is important to solve our problems amicably. It is also important to respect each other's boundaries and each other's rights. Just because a country is far superior in certain aspects, it cannot dominate over the citizens of other countries. So it shows us very many values. It teaches us very many values. So the study of this chapter is aimed towards that goal. all the best, and I hope you will study well.